A dire warning tonight from a local congressman. Drug cartels are continuing to infiltrate parts of the Southland.
Now, just in these two trucks, there's about 1,000 pounds of marijuana in each. That's conservative.
We're not in Sonora, Mexico right now. We're 300 miles away from the border, and we have one of the largest illegal drug operations happening in the backyard in the high deserts of Los Angeles.
It was complaints from area residents, particularly farmers, having water stolen that alerted law enforcement.
Multiple sheriff's departments in California are waging war on so-called no-go zones in the rural desert, where drug cartels are paying cash for land and setting up illegal marijuana farms. Coined by the residents in the area, these zones are run and protected by foreign organized crime groups. It's an unbelievably lucrative criminal enterprise, and we're not getting help from the state, Riverside County Sheriff said. We're not getting help from our lawmakers to try and combat it, and our communities are the ones that are suffering. Other no-go zones have been identified in pockets of rural deserts near Anza, 29 Palms, East Lancaster, Lake Hughes, and more. Police have raided the no-go zones, aiming to put a dent in the criminal operations. These sites include water tanks, bedrooms, kitchens, showers, and hundreds, if not thousands, of marijuana plants. Policing the matter is complicated, since the municipal violations sometimes carry heftier consequences than the actual farming. Oftentimes, the farming relies on human trafficking. The victims of which are hesitant to cooperate with the police. They get no money, the sheriff said. They live in cardboard shacks sometimes, and it's appalling. We cannot get our legislators to come look at these grows. We can't get them to look at the pictures. We're just doing everything we can to survive, and the real victims are the neighbors. Locals say it's not the marijuana they're concerned about, but the crime and intimidation that come along with the illegal activity. Neighbors said these illegal operations siphon water away from their fruit orchards that have grown in the area for years. Those who spoke with News Nation asked to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation. It just did not make sense that they were allowing outside sales of this water for growing of illegal crops, one neighbor said. We couldn't water the peach orchards here. If you look around, they're dried up. The farms out here are dried up because of the water. But the cannabis growing is prolific. Plus, threats of violence have scared locals from approaching these no-go zones. My friend was told not to drive, not to go up there anymore, a resident said, claiming that he and a friend were shown a picture of a dead man who tried to enter that area. During a community meeting about the neighbors' concerns, a man dressed in black arrived in a vehicle with tinted windows, one woman told News Nation. He got out of his car and purposely walked up, grabbed a seat, turned it around and faced the audience, and basically stared us down during the whole meeting, and it was very unsettling, she said. Another woman who lives in the area said that she believes growers choose the areas that are spacious and secluded. Those operations became harder to ignore once California could legally grow cannabis plants at home, she said. There's no power on a lot of these properties, but yet it looked like a city at night with all the traffic, the lights, the generators, the grow lights, the woman said. It was just crazy. Riverside County Sheriff fears that similar activity will happen in other areas where marijuana is legalized. So goes California, so goes the rest of the country, he said. They love saying that term. Well, come talk to us here. You don't want this going on in your neck of the woods. Officers will be conducting raids in no-go zones all summer. It's an unprecedented siege that has upended life in remote desert communities and vast tract developments that overlook Joshua trees and scrub. Authorities say the boom has led to forced labor, violence, water theft, and the destruction of the fragile desert habitat and wildlife. Longtime residents say they feel less safe, claiming black market growers act with impunity in carrying weapons, trading gunfire with rivals, and threatening those who wander into their farms.
That's fucked up.
When our family moved to 29 Palms 9 years ago, it was peaceful and calm, said Amy. The invasion of pot farms changed all that. We don't go for walks under the stars anymore. It just doesn't feel safe. Many of these illicit farms are run by criminal organizations, according to federal drug agents, and often rely on labor of undocumented immigrants. After the authorities responded to a tip about a body, they arrested 3 undocumented farm operators on suspicion of murder and false imprisonment. These suspects, according to court documents, were said to be affiliated with the Jalisco cartel. The rise of Mojave Desert pot farming began shortly after California voted to legalize marijuana in 2016. Ever since, black market growers have flocked to the desert, which offers a near-perfect environment for large-scale farming. Endless sunshine, cheap open space, and virtually no police. Though desert pot does require enormous amounts of water, growers have discovered that they can buy or steal all that they need. Bulldozers scrape the desert brush and topsoil into tall berms as growers clear space for row after row of tunnel-like greenhouses, from which the pungent scent of cannabis wafts over the neighborhoods. In some cases, illegal pot farms sprawl across the desert floor like corporate agriculture compounds, seemingly springing up overnight. Los Angeles County Sheriff deputies within the last few months have counted 500 such illegal grow sites from the air, a huge jump from the 150 tallied last year. In San Bernardino County, sheriff's offices have come across 860 illegal sites. The farms have become so numerous that one outraged resident posted drone footage of one greenhouse after another, filling a 1-mile stretch of desert in 29 Palms. The spread has coincided with an increase in violence. Though there is no official tally of homicides, The Times found that at least 5 Mojave Desert slayings in 2020 and 2021 that investigators said were related to pot farming, as well as one attempted murder. In one recent eradication sweep, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department said that authorities seized 373,000 pot plants and more than 16 tons of harvested marijuana. with a street value of more than $1 billion. The largest operation in the department's history. The proliferation of an extremely water-intensive crop in a desert environment has heightened fears of water scarcity as well. In the midst of a worsening drought, growers have stolen water from agricultural wells and aqueducts, or have broken open fire hydrants. So much was stolen from hydrants in late March that the plumbing water pressure compromised firefighting operations. As a result, the Los Angeles County Fire Department ordered the removal of 100 hydrants in the Antelope Valley. Cannabis cultivators began moving out of California's redwood forest and into the sun-scorched desert in 2018, 2 years after voters passed Proposition 64, which reduced the penalty for growing and selling pot from a felony to a misdemeanor. While some cash-strapped municipalities, such as Desert Hot Springs, have courted legal growers, industrial pot operations have remained prohibited on federal lands and in unincorporated community areas. The boom in black market farms has occurred in precisely these prohibited areas. Had those growing operations been licensed, state and local governments could have collected millions of dollars in taxes and fees. Many of the illegal grows are run by Mexican, Chinese, Russian, Armenian, and Laotian criminal organizations. While Proposition 64 made adult recreational use of marijuana and home growing legal in the state, marijuana remains a Schedule I controlled substance federally. The Drug Administration and the National Institute on Drug Abuse have recommended that the Drug Enforcement Administration make marijuana a Schedule III. If the recommendation is approved, marijuana would no longer be listed as a dangerous substance like heroin or LSD, and it would reduce or potentially eliminate criminal penalties for possession. The decision rests with the DEA, which has rarely, if ever, rejected a rescheduling recommendation from HHS. The DEA will consider marijuana reclassification under 3 criteria. 1, its potential for abuse. 2, its potential for medical use, and 3, the extent to which it's unsafe or addictive. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and maybe even tell a friend. If you have any stories, questions, comments, issues, or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment. I love to read them. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.